and welcome to the most glamorous review out there on the internet today. I am the Fabio Freddy Krueger's, except I don't have the long hair. That is okay.
Oh, man. I would love Fabio's hair way back in the day. That'd be
For reals. We're going to get you a wig.
And I fit the wig now.
That is very, very, well, we'll talk more afterwards because that actually be kind of funny.
That's right.
Like sponsored by Rogan. No, I was kidding.
Sponsored by Rogan takes years. I got friends who've been taking that stuff since their 20s, and they look the same mostly, but
maybe not Rogan.
This took a turn. Anyway.
Anywho, hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to the All Elite Ensemble. Your weekly AEW review show here on the BC WrestlePod Network Syndicate Conglomeration Thingamabob. We do every single day of the week except for Thursdays, but not this week because we will also be doing stuff on Thursdays. I am your host, Mikey, and joining me back from the land of the theater and posting a bitchin' picture of him in costume on his social media. It's the professor. I'm happy to have you back, John. I've missed you.
I've been trying to keep up with AEW as much as I can, and of course, I keep up with what we do here and watching reviews and stuff that we talk about. AEW has been in like this really volatile, we got shit to do, so I don't want to talk about this too long. But there was one week where it was like AEW beat WWE in the ratings, and it was like, oh my God, AEW did it. And then they came back, and then there was a signing, and then things that happened in WWE happened, not to invoke another promotion. But just like that, it's like, yeah, AEW is still here. They're still doing cool stuff. And of course, there's always the controversies and other things. Yeah, while I've been in rehearsals and in shows and in tech, I still have friends asking me questions all the time, like, hey, what do you think of this? Oh, I'm the resident pro wrestling nerd. So I guess I will answer these questions as I see them.
Right.
Summer Blockbuster was really solid. I was talking to you beforehand. I missed a chunk of it because of the streaming service I use, which I will not plug because I'm mad at them.
Right.
So with ads and other things. But I'm at like 85%. There's a few matches I didn't get to watch and didn't get to see, but I know where we're going. It's fun. I love the direction AEW is going. And not to invoke another promotion, but what the other promotion is doing is sort of, hey, we've acquired this company. We're going to use them sparingly. AEW went, I see that. And we're going to do whole events dedicated to only that. How do you like me now? And I think it's calling a bluff a little bit. It was sort of like, oh, are you actually going to represent this style, these people, this culture, or are you going to lip service? At least that's me on this end. That might be a little different, but I was like, oh, I think it just feels like Tony Khan's calling their bluff. Like, I don't think you really like it. We're going to show you that we do.
Look, I always say that like what you like and don't be a turd, in the words of Wrestling with Regrets, Brian Zane. But I will say I've been really enjoying AEW's programming the last couple of weeks. I mean, Fyter Fest was a lot of fun, but I will say that Summer Blockbuster to me was the better 4 hour, and I feel like they tweaked Summer Blockbuster to kind of take the learning lessons from Fyter Fest and some of the critiques that people were saying online to kind of like more women's matches and women's segments for Summer Blockbuster, which was nice, as well as some developments of other things. So we're going to be doing this. We got a 4 hour show to cover for the review, but then at the end, we are going to be previewing this week's AEW programming because it's CMLL and AEW week this week, where everybody is in Arena Mexico this week for tonight, for tomorrow's Grand Slam Mexico, and for some of the AEW folks are sticking around for CMLL's Viernes, and they are participating in their Fantastica Mania big show on this Friday. So it's going to be fun. But let's get through Summer Blockbuster first, which took place on Wednesday, June 11th. So last Wednesday from Portland, Oregon, up here in the Pacific Northwest. And we kick things off with a banger. Like, they just straight up jump out the gate. We get Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland round 2. This is great.
So for me,
I was just like, as soon as I heard Will's music play, I was like, here we go.
I was a day late to this because I had to watch it the next day. And when I dug it up, someone had posted the results and I went, oh no. So I was trying not to look at it. But of course, the first line is Ospreay Strickland, and I read draw, and my first impulse was, oh, that's unfortunate. And then I thought about it and went, oh wait, Ospreay and Swerve just went 30 minutes to a draw. I gotta watch this. And I ran home and went, oh my God, it was incredible. We knew they would be incredible, right? They're fantastic. This made it on my list for matches to rewatch at the end of the year. Of course, like I've said in the past, I could do that for every Will Ospreay match. There's also one or two in Summer Blockbuster that I'm tempted to go back and watch as well. There's some stuff that was really interesting that was in here.
Yeah.
They're so good. And I don't know, there's pro wrestling purists that will always hate Will Ospreay. I didn't know how much they hated Will Ospreay till the last few weeks on Reddit. It was like, oh my God, I want to hate everyone for some reason. Their impulse on like where the other will be in the moment for the thing was just fascinating to me. Like they're so incredible. We could talk about this for 3 hours if we really want.
We could, but this match was awesome. So this is what kicked things off. And as you said, Professor, we did go to a time limit draw. So we reached the 30 minutes. We reached the time limit draw. Swerve gets on the mic and it's just like, hell to the no. We ain't gonna run this back again. There has to be a definitive winner. I'm like, Swerve's like, we ain't doing this. But before we can get this match started again, the Young Bucks come running in. They start EVB triggering, super kick partying all over the place. Death Riders are coming in with all of this stuff too. Swerve gets set up in the corner to take his shoe that he just released, but with the added, accoutrement of thumbtacks to it. And as the EVPs are ready to super kick him with that, Will Ospreay jumps in front and takes the bullet for Swerve. And so the EVPs realizing that Swerve is now all mad, which then, of course, we had the Avengers of AEW come out for the save, which made everybody disperse. And so Swerve is with Nana in the ring as this match and segment comes to the end, looking at Will Ospreay, who just took a bullet for Swerve.
Oh yeah. Young Bucks super kicks are still remarkably impressive. Like they're probably some of the better ones ever. I don't know if you saw it. There's other screenshots of it out there. That it will perfectly. Like as hard as you can, but then landed as light as a feather. Like, oh my God. To the point where actually watching it as you watch it live, you miss it completely because it's so fast. The cameraman missed it on the replay. The other camera got the whole shot of it, which was incredible.
Absolutely.
Sets up something really interesting. I kind of like indifferent Uncle John Moxley, like, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go. Like, I don't hate that. I still think the whole Death Riders angle and what we're trying to do with them doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but I guess that's where we're going. Yeah, I mean, again, we could talk at length about the match. It was great. I think storytelling wise, it kind of shoehorns a story in there that we can get some mileage out of. Portland hated the Young Bucks, probably because, Swerve, we know Swerve's that guy. So he's big Pacific Northwest guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't hate this. It's fine. We're trying to build towards All In, so I get it, but
You're right. So we're going to be revisiting everybody a little bit later in this summer blockbuster special because we also have some developments there. But we're going to move on again. This is a fantastic opener, and it's, it does set up something for Grand Slam Mexico, which we'll talk about at the very end of the show because right now is approached by the Don Callis family.
Mind you, this was the first 45 minutes, 50 minutes of the show was everything Ospreay's.
Right.
Anyway, moving on.
So Don Callis approaches Okada and it's just like, hey, if you ever want to be a part of this, we're looking, to expand. And I love Takeshita looking at Okada here is just like, you already have one Japanese wrestler. You gonna make me fight for my spot? Okay. Like Takeshita is over it. He's like, what is happening right now?
Who's been there from the beginning. And Okada, who's only been here, 2 years, 2.5 years? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
So, but has just, killed it. I loved this. I didn't hate this promo. I thought it was fine. It builds what we're going to talk about in probably just a few minutes anyway. So I missed Okada saying bitch. I've missed it. So it's been a month or two since I've heard it. So I'm happy. This was fine. I think Don Callis is really good at making us hate him. I can't get on him too much, even though his plot lines are what bother us and bother us still. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. We're going to talk about them in a little bit, but now let's get into this. So prior to the match is starting for our trios match, it gets attacked backstage and MJF takes his mask from him. So obviously this is an angle because Commander is actually injured. So he was supposed to team up with Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, but he is taken out. And so we got to figure out who we gonna get. And MJF is now on he does the rudo thing. The rudo is the term we use over at CMLL to describe like your bad guy of like, now he's the luchador mask collector, I guess. So that's interesting. But after this segment, we do get into, these next three segments kind of bleed in together. So first we do get Místico, the poster boy, the golden boy, the golden child of CMLL coming over here. and he has a match against Blake Christian. This is a quick, like, 8-minute bout, and Místico obviously wins, so don't have much to say about the match. But then
I have one thing to say about the match.
Go for it.
Mystico, there was a hitch on the over the rope. I don't know what it is, that beautiful 540 thing he did. Mystico bailed on it. Blake jumps in, fixes the whole spot. About 30 seconds later, they go for it again. He nails that 540 arm drag, tosses him out of the ring. Blake Christian, I know he was just supposed to be a nobody. He did great going heads up with Mystico in here. This was a fun little match in here. We got other stuff to talk about, but I just wanted to say.
Yeah. We love Blake Christian in this house cold. Of course, Místico does win, which then prompts Hurt Syndicate to come in, and we get this little bit of a promo. The American MJF is back.
Man, that flag. Ave Maria.
So we get a little bit of a back and forth. Of course, MJF calls him the messy Sin Cara, which was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, you're not wrong, but oh my gosh. And then, of course, because of things that I cannot repeat, me says some very not so good things about Max's mother in Spanish, which was great, and challenges Max to a match at Grand Slam Mexico, which MJF accepts. So from this segment, we do get our first official match for Grand Slam Mexico made, MJF versus Místico, which I would not be surprised if this ends up main eventing Grand Slam Mexico.
That's going to be great. And again, MJF is probably one of the better heels in pro wrestling, period, when he's on point. He kind of floundered in that Hurt Syndicate. They're not going to let me in. I feel like they should have gone full sketch comedy with it, like they did with him and Adam Cole. They chose not to. They just kind of did this yay or nay thing, probably because Bobby and Sheldon aren't the most comedic on the mic. That's fine. Sorry, I'm getting into stuff I have been thinking about for months.
that is okay. Like this is a good time for you to get all these things.
Bits, just little things out of that. I like this. I think this is fun. I think MJF is perfect to be hated. I thought he was gonna take it too far. There's a few jokes and a few things, especially with the news the last 2 weeks, especially with what over the weekend. There's a few things he could have said that would have really made this hot. And he's probably smooth enough to make sure it was just controversial enough without offending anybody, but chose the safe with Pat. So that was
so we're going to talk about this in a little bit towards the end of the show when we preview the full card, because now, again, from this little segment, we bleed into our next thing, which is our trios match. So this is the Hurt Syndicate. So Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MJF taking on the team of Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And then replacing Commander in this match is CMLL star Máscara Dorada. So this was great.
Fun. Yeah.
This is a fun match. I was just like, everybody flying everywhere. We got the powerhouses. This was a very good powerhouse versus your high speed, if you will.
And commentary was trying to talk about this the whole time, right? Like, look how fast they are. Look how grounded they are. And like, they were trying to make it something, which commentary was trying really hard. I think that was Ikebani on there. Wasn't Ikebani on there?
Yeah, I think Ian was on there for part of the night. Yeah. I need Ian Riccaboni to stay on there for a little bit.
So good. He was covering a lot of it, but it just Mike Bailey in AEW is a great fit. I love Kevin Knight too. Kevin Knight's fantastic. I kind of wanted this to breathe a little more. They could have let this run a little bit longer. I know they had promos. I know they had stuff to do. It felt like a lot of build, and then we got just 5 minutes of fireworks, and then it's kind of over. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to watch this It was really cool. I like seeing this. We got the MJF hook. We got all the things that we needed out of it, and then we get the MVP stuff afterwards, which I'm sure you're going to talk about. So
right. So, of course, this match happens. Hurt Syndicate do pick up the victory here. We have a fantastic match. We have a beatdown afterwards. We have MJF taking Máscara Dorada's mask, which then prompts Místico to come in and hit the Mística, which is his finisher, onto MJF in the middle of the ring. And MJF begins to tap. That Mística is crazy to watch. But this does make me think, I was like, I wonder if MJF is going to go over in Mexico, but who knows?
You think so? Really?
I see. Here's where this is going to be a fun one to have when Adolfo is here, because Adolfo is very, very vocal and very protective when it comes to CMLL working with other companies.
Yeah.
Especially because CMLL really wants to make sure that if there's anything within CMLL, that their stars usually go over, but they are not like, you have to do it our way or it's the highway. But I'm really interested to see if Místico, who's technically your face of CMLL, will lose to MJF. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
I think I don't mind them giving him heat and taking masks. I think you got to protect someone, right? I like Mystical going in there, not holding it too long and going up. I mean, I can go either way. Yeah, I can see what you're going, but that'd be crazy. MJF goes over in Mexico. Mexico City gonna go crazy.
I mean, it's sold out too. So Rio Mexico sold out for these week's events. So this is gonna be fun. So we're gonna review all this when we talk about the whole entire week that is CMLL and versus AEW this week. So it's gonna be fun. But right now, I was like, that's not what we said when we started this storyline. But
A little bit more and more because now he's the old one, but he's not that old. He's only 47. Calling him a millennial cowboy, calling him an emotional something. He has another line in there about that.
yeah,
Kind of funny. I see you backstage. And a lot of people think Moxley would be a great film actor if he could just breathe and relax and
yes,
stay focused.
oh,
I
100.
think when he starts to ramble and get a little lost, he almost lands in Ultimate Warrior territory. Not totally, but like starts to sort of, you're this millennial cowboy, aren't you? And then there's aliens outside. Like he just kind of fades. I was kind of shocked that they did the handcuffs behind the back, mouth taped thing because I've heard from several wrestlers. Maven has it on his podcast when Mick Foley was on it recently. Oh, I can't think of who it was. There was another wrestler who was on with CBV talking about it. Being handcuffed behind the back.
I think it was Snitsky, I think.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
When you're handcuffed behind the back and taking shots, you're stiff. You can't brace or breathe or anything. So every shot, I mean, of course, Yuta, they're taking care of it. All of this hurts. No, this is bad. Like, but he's a tough sucker. So he did it.
It really does. So, of course, they start to beat up on Hangman afterwards, which then has the ops coming out. Yes, we are still calling them the ops. So this prompts a joke.
Anything else?
I mean, it's great.
It can't be great.
It could be the worst thing. It could be worse. I'm gonna be for real.
Do you like
but
the name? Is it growing on you?
I mean, I'm brown, so it's going to work for me, but that's because that's lingo that's usually for the minorities. But I understand, and I'm not 100% like, oh, if you don't like the ops, you're a hater. I understand, but then I'm thinking about it like, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. So I was like, I'm okay with the ops. I mean, the name aside, whether you love it or hate it, I do like everyone involved. So that's Shibata Joe and
really hard.
Powerhouse
I
Hobbs.
love all three of them. And three of them together, delicious.
The ops.
Maybe just need to not be that old man yelling off the porch, right?
So they free Hangman. Hangman gets on the mic. He cuts a very quick but fiery promo saying this is like, I will ride through death and hell to come get that AEW title back. And I'm like, there we go. This is the redemption arc. AEW pull that trigger at y'all in Texas. Let Hangman bring an end to the Death Riders.
That could be cool. And we can get rid of it. I mean, really, Yuta's stuck in purgatory. He ain't been able to do nothing for years now.
That's true. However, there is a little glimpse of hope when we get to a certain segment with a certain, formerly like out of this world personality who's having issues with Willow right now. We'll talk about that when we get to it, because I found that interaction very interesting. But this is the segment. Hangman's ready to fight the Death Riders, take the title from Mox. Hangman, we're going to talk about you a little bit later, because right now, yes, this is a really solid and very fun women's match. This is a tag team match. We have Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford taking on the returning TJ. So last week at Fyter Fest, we had the return of Ty Conti. Oh, no, not Ty Conti. Ty Mello, sorry. We're going to call her by her official name if she wants to. So Mello. So Ty Mello and Anna Jay are back. So we get TJ versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford.
This was so good. I'm not going to be crass or rude, but my God, they were all beautiful. And they were violent and killed it. The timing was amazing. There's a few things Megan and Penelope tried to do and set up, which took a little bit of time here and there. That's sort of, I don't know what it even was. Half a poison into a running bulldoggy thing. Like there's a few things that they were trying, which didn't bother me. They were amazing. They sold the story arc of this. It was super fun.
100%.
I'm not familiar with TJ at all, which is kind of refreshing and cool. Like, oh, who are they? They threw some great shots. There's a leg kick. I guess it's Jay.
Yeah, so Anna Jay and Ty Mello. So TJ.
I see. So yeah, so I guess it's Ty.
Ty is in the face paint across her eyes,
Okay.
and then Anna Jay is in the black.
Ty did a kick sequence on Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford and threw these beautiful kicks that, again, like I talked about earlier, super hard and then just light as a feather, just barely. The control and poise and all that fun stuff was just fantastic. It spilled out in the ring. It was solid. I thought this, I think it had a few moments that were clunky here and there, but this was exceptional. This one really stood out.
No, and I'm going to be honest because me and JVL talked about this last week during our Fighter Fest review when we previewed the card. We're like, we're like, oh yeah, Megan and Penelope, they're going to win. This gives TJ somewhere to go. TJ picks up the victory, which I'm not going to complain about. I was like, you go, girls. So I'm excited. I'm happy that Ty is back. You know, again, I've missed her and the reason she's good at throwing these kicks, Professor, is because that Ty has this background in jujitsu and martial arts in general too. So
yeah,
I'm excited. This is the tag team that has been here since day one of AEW's formation.
Oh, really?
She went. Ty has been missing for the last year and a half because she and Sammy Guevara, mostly her, had a whole baby.
Oh, that's who she is.
And Sammy Guevara are married to each other.
That's why the timeline fits. Got it.
So,
okay.
But I'm happy she is back.
Thank you for that. All right. That's great to hear.
Yeah, good job, girls. This was a fun tag team match. No, like really good fun all around.
Love it.
Ooh, okay. So this pretty much closed us out for the majority of like the first half of Summer Blockbuster. So we get this contract signing between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. So we learned last week that this match was announced. It is a winner-take-all match. So we are merging the International and the Continental Championships together. So we spend the first chunk of our promo unveiling it. So Tony Schiavone is in the ring with Okada and Kenny. We unveil the championship. So let me see if I put it on here. So this is a better look at this championship belt. So this combines the International and the Continental on the side plates because this is a belt for Wrestling Legacies. Of course, you have the crown in the centerpiece to represent the Continental. But on the side plate, on one of them, you have the side plate, which is an homage to the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. And then another one is an homage to Kenny Omega.
That's cool. I don't hate that.
No, so I was just like, this is gonna be fun. So that's how we started everything. Of course, Kenny and Okada signed their stuff. Don Callis comes out, to begin all the talking. And then things go left because and Don Callis attack Kenny. And then they continue to attack Kenny. They're especially going after his gut because of his diverticulitis, which then forces Kenny to be spitting up blood. This was a horror movie. I was like, oh my gosh. This is literally the application of the South Park. Oh my gosh, they killed Kenny. Bastards.
For anyone who's a horror movie nerd, like a few of us who love this stuff, I did the horror movie thing. Right away.
This is the Final Destination bloodline of the majority of people were like, this is so much fun. They laughed at all the death scenes.
Elbow to stomach, immediate blood. It's like, oh my God. He definitely got one too many blood packs. He definitely didn't foam his mouth. He definitely bit down and went, and like did what he did. Okay. Hysterical. It makes sense. He was in the white shirt, right? Looked amazing. This is going to get memed forever. It's going to happen all the time. It was violent and cool and awesome. I'm not talking trash on it necessarily, but for anyone who's done blood packs and horror movie stuff, I was laughing like, oh my God.
Right.
However, it worked on the crowd. The crowd was all messed up.
Hi, Kill.
Am I beautiful? Oh, that's so kind of you.
You are very bonita.
Aw, I'm a C+. I thought that was super fun. Hey, Kiel, hope you're well, by the way. Happy Father's Day. Yeah, I did not hate this. The internet is sort of like, I don't know how I feel. It's fun. You got Don Callis and Okada. You got all the heels in the same basket. Come on. You gotta like that.
Right. And then we'll fast forward a little bit too, because of what happened. I mean, Kenny had to be carried out on a stretcher. We did that whole bit. But then Ada is running with Don Callis to get in the car to leave for the arena later in the evening. So it's like, where the locker room is probably going to come and kill them, which is kind of crazy. Kilt says he's doing good. He's alive. Father's Day was missed.
Was that what he said? Oh, no. It's not really.
It's okay, buddy. We love you.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's fun. I'll talk this to death. I know we got to talk about.
Yeah, but this was fun. This gives like more heat. So
Yeah.
it makes me excited for their match, the winner take all match at Y'all in Texas. So because of that, we have 3 matches for Y'all in. It is the winner take all between Okada and Kenny. We have Mercedes challenging Tony for the AEW Women's Championship. And then we have Hangman versus Moxley for the World Heavyweight AEW Championship. So I'm excited. I cannot wait.
I think I'm not saying anything bothered me about this. I think what got me was you had the 8-minute, 9-minute package of here's the history of these two.
Right.
And I mean, part of me was like, that's enough. That was beautiful. Sign the contracts, shove each other a little, let's go. Extra that was added. You know what we need? Gore. Like, wait, what? We're doing this? So I don't hate that. But it was definitely, I think that's what sparked me. I think that was for the folks in I'm not saying casuals like it's a bad thing, but the folks that are watching every now and then who still like AEW, not like grandmas who show up once a year. What they doing? Oh, can they make them? But we have other stuff to talk about.
We do. So this closed off the first half of Summer Blockbuster, and then we get into the second half proper, and we kick it off with this match right here, Kyle Fletcher versus Anthony Bowens. I'm going to be so for real. Me and JBL talked a little bit of crap about this because we were not appreciating AEW and how they were handling Anthony Bowens. And I was just like, we talked about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I think they may actually not make this match go far. He gonna get squashed. I figured Kyle was gonna win nonetheless, but I will say AEW, I appreciate you. You gave me an actual full-length match, and this match was awesome.
Have they not been giving him full matches?
Well, he's been getting matches, but it's been like 8 minutes against not actual like crazy opponents for Anthony Bowens. I mean, Kyle Fletcher out here doing the most, which I love.
Kyle Fletcher looking like a villain from The Fifth Element. My God. If you'd have said to him 3 years ago, you're going to wear all pink, wear sunglasses indoors, and be a bad guy, I don't know what he would have said to you, but he's killing it as this evil, whatever he is. It's so good.
It is.
He's a villain from Blade. Like, he's just a bad vampire.
The techno rave. Be like, dude.
Blood rave.
Well, before we get into the nitty gritty of this match, we're going to take a little 10-second dance break because we have our third co-host in here.
Good dance break.
I got to get this. So enjoy this little 10-second dance break, and we will be back.
Yeah.
Way shorter than 10 seconds. Hi, JBL.
I can't hear you, but I love it. I agree with you.
We love the pantomime.
We should act like we can hear him.
But we can't.
No, you're right.
Totally.
No, I agree with you.
I hate you all.
There we go. We got that part across.
Is it working now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that was great.
Guilt says hi, by the way.
Oh, the universe said, I'm going to wait for you to be real and then let the sound come back.
You have no idea today. What I had said before was I wanted to join the conversation because I was saying MFers always trying to ice skate up hills. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. But welcoming him, our third official co-host of the All Elite Ensemble, it is the mini. I was reading as I was saying. I just stopped because it's too good.
Oh, brilliant.
Everybody wants me.
Sizzling sweet. Everybody there. Hi, Kilt. Hi, who the hell is this professor? You don't look like
the last professor? No, the last professor had was younger, probably more attractive.
Much younger.
I'm a C-. Had what? Much more fun with? Oh, I could turn that up to 11.
I bet you can.
Oh, no.
Nice and sunburnt from being Dogberry. It's wonderful. Anyhow.
Oh, Dogberry is so much fun. We'll talk about it.
Well, we will reconvene because it's the first time in like 2 months that the three of us have been here. So, JBL, welcome. We are literally just starting the second half of Summer Blockbuster.
Good, I'm here for Collision.
Basically, you're here for the Collision part. But so I will give you a sec. So, JBL, do you have any quick thoughts about the whole MJF Mystico thing? TJ's win, which was crazy. I thought they were going to lose, but I'm happy they won.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's a lot to say on this. I could go back for hours on this stuff. The MJF Mystico thing feels like it had been put on the back burner for a while. It's back there. They need to get another round out of that flag. Like, they paid too much for it. They need to make sure they got their use out of it. But it's going to be a very fun thing to have there. Honestly, I mean, I could talk about the first half, but I'm really involved in Collision here. Collision's what I actually enjoyed. I will say on this, it's another time of them misusing Anthony Bowens. Like, we don't know what to do with him. And
that's fair.
Amazing person.
That's fair. But I was telling the professor, I mean, I'm still bummed that Anthony lost to Kyle here. But I will say, this is actually a pretty good match. I just wish there was a direction for Anthony.
That's what I was going to ask you all. They haven't done anything with him?
No.
This is the same gimmick he's had since he came back months ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't grown. He hasn't moved on. Weirdly, Max Caster's gotten a lot more growth as a character in his little bits there, but Anthony Bowens
his 5-minute challenges.
His 5-minute challenge. Whereas we have a 5-tool player, that's all he is. He doesn't have the fun that he had when he was part of the tag team. He doesn't have any of the kind of gravitas he had as well, where he would like actually talk about things and have fun with it. He just seems focused on, I am an athlete and I am very good at what I do.
That's unfortunate.
It's like, it's a hate crime because it's Pride Month too.
Yeah. Well, I can see how the mid-card in AEW, a lot of them have been kind of stuck. And we were all hoping, when we were calling for them to do singles runs a year or two ago, make it happen, we actually thought the inverse. We thought Anthony Bowens was going to blow up. We were like, what are they going to do with Max Caster? But he kind of found his way in a very different way.
They took his voice. And not because it was Matt Caster. They took his ability to make a promo away other than just on one topic.
Sure.
So,
I mean, that being said, this was a really good match. I really liked it.
It wasn't bad. What are they doing with Anthony Bowens?
Right.
Right.
Oh, by the way, JVL, I don't know if you heard, but so I didn't have any Hollywood regalia stuff, so I figured out what I could. So you have three choices. I am your future Latin superstar, the BC Wrestle Pod, Antonio Banderas, or I could be the sexy Latino Freddy Krueger for y'all. It's your pick.
Such a hard pick. God, I feel like you're just more desperado than you are, an actual.
You know what? I will go with that too. I am an extra in the 1960s in those Western movies where they hired all the Latino superstars and I don't get paid fairly. But that's a whole nother topic.
Oh, no. We love you, Anthony Quinn. Go watch an Anthony Quinn movie.
American Mikey, because you seem like it'd be good enough for that in the 60s.
I mean, that's very fair as well. It was a time. Okay, but let's move on. So, again, seriously, we can have a whole conversation on the malpractices of old Hollywood and how it wasn't actually glamorous, especially to marginalized communities. That's neither here nor there.
Oh, seriously. Tan? You're a Native American. Are you tan? No, you're this.
I'm Italian. I can't really do the...
Oof.
You're fine.
Listen.
Goodness.
That's crazy.
Wasn't that the thing? The crying Indian?
You're the BC Wrestle Pod Michael Pena.
Oh, my gosh. That was
We're having too much fun.
The 70s crying Indian commercials. That guy was actually Italian. Wasn't that
Italian? But
then, anyways,
this is not about wrestling. We're talking about old Hollywood and like bad racist things. Which
awful things, terrible.
But to bring it all back, it feels like it's a hate crime because we don't have no direction for Anthony Bowens. Kyle Fletcher does pick up the victory here.
See, about this, I know maybe it's because Anthony Bowens is on there. Why are there sperm flying at Kyle Fletcher in the background?
Listen, you're not wrong. Kyle Fletcher might be progressive. I'm just kidding.
I thought this might be some kind of other match with all those sperm back there.
He's taking back shots from the sky. Look at him. That's a phrase I didn't know I'd say today.
I'm so proud of him.
He's who
damn, we lost lots of people. Anyway, I'm just kidding. We're fine. It's AEW Summer Skeet, but now we're definitely moving on to the next thing.
I'm so glad I came back on late.
Chaos.
I came at all. Anyways,
I've missed this chaos so much. But move on because
we're just in time for this.
Okay, so we get a oof. So first and foremost, no kills. You will not. I forbid.
Do it now.
No.
Do it.
Anywho,
do it.
Let me set everything up, right? So we first get the voice of CMLL, Mr. Carlos Cabrera, who I love wholeheartedly. He's a really good commentator watching CMLL, and both of you will get a chance to hear him commentate this week as you watch the stuff for our review for Grand Slam Mexico review next week. But he comes out and he introduces Atlantis Senior and Atlantis Junior. So these are the real father-son duo of the Atlantis. You know, he talks about how, especially Atlantis Senior, brings a legacy of lucha libre. This man is in his elder statesman years and has been wrestling ever.
And he still looks jacked.
He still goes, too.
Big dude.
I loved during this when Dax had to start like calling things with him. He's like, just back off, dude. Don't take a second. Slow down. Because he was really
inching closer and closer. Like
he's trying to like call it to him, like, dude, stop it.
I'm totally going to regret this really quickly, but I'm going to make this man pop in. Don't get us demonetized, Kilt.
It's already demonetized.
So hang on. Let me switch us to the 4-person view really quickly.
Oh, God. He's stroking.
Hey, what you doing here?
Hi, I'm just trying to make sure we get affiliate on Twitch. It's really all I care about right now.
So all I needed him to get Kilt on the show was to bring the professor in finally? Like, I'm not good at
No. It's not really that. It's actually it is actually the affiliate part. And I just happen to be here and you were here. So, I love you, JVO.
Now I don't feel special at all. Thank you.
Wow.
Excuse you. You're very special. You're my man.
Wow. I love you, Kill.
Come out.
Bye. Okay, well, bye. Bye, friend. All righty.
Are you wearing a proton pack back there, Professor?
Yeah, I leaned back onto it and the whole pack started to fall on my head.
This is going to get fun then. Hold on.
It's going to be fun. So, anyways, Carlos Cabrera introduces the Atlantises. He talks about their lineage, and then we get interrupted by FTR and Stokely. Stokely gets on the mic. basically, it's a continuation of the problematic and stuff that we had last week and we talked about last week with FTR being very kind of problematically racist towards our luchador. Essentially, ends up in a whole entire brawl because FTR attacked the Atlantises. Then we had part of the Don Callis family come out, which then, of course, to even the odds, we had Bandito and we had, Brody King of all people show up. Like Dax was about to get a 6-on-1 special, but then ran out of there when he realized that he couldn't take it all once. So he ran the heck out of Dodge. And ultimately, this is to set up what we're going to preview at the end of the show. We're getting a 12-man tag team match between a whole bunch of people that we're going to talk about later.
I was listening to you. I was also admiring the Proton pack.
That's okay.
That's fantastic. I love those old school packs. Someone built that for you, right?
Actually built it. It's all foam and it weighs very little. She can actually carry it on her back.
So
good. Not so veiled racism. Go.
Yeah. We talked about this in the first half. There were a lot of things in that they could have made that they chose not to, which I was okay with. This one they kind of leaned in it, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still confused why Adam Cole's here in the middle of any of this.
That's what we were also thinking too, because I think we're waiting. Well, I mean, him and Danny are going to fight again for that TNT championship. That's like the ultimate goal here. But yeah, getting Adam Cole is kind of like him and Paragon are an anomaly. They're kind of just floating around right now.
Well, I mean, they had been fighting FTR before when Danny was around there, so there is still that kind of yes, there's bad blood between them that's been building, but this was a whole this isn't their world. But also, I mean, on the other side of this, I'm going, oh, great, FTR is taking up the Jericho role because Jericho beat both these guys racistly about a year ago or a little less. Right? We got to Forbidden Door. So it's just, again, messing with CMLL where I'm watching these companies have these relationships with these Mexican wrestling companies and they're all treating them terribly. It's just, there's nothing good coming out of this.
I feel like it could be words.
Yeah.
It's the easy us versus them thing. And granted, I mean, the first half, the Dynamite half, we got hints of that, but it wasn't quite the same. There was still a little bit of a whatever. Them leading on it in the second half of this, I think they could do better. I don't know if that's just American creative not knowing how to work this crowd or just lazy.
I think it's not trusting the crowd.
Or that, sure.
I feel like they have to go to a certain place with it and make this work in order to sell a story. And they're not trusting their crowd to be smart enough to go along with the fact of these Mexican wrestlers have a different culture, different way of doing things, which can be in some ways at certain points superior to what we have. And you stick Dax and Cash in there because they've been making racist remarks about everybody so far. You may as well just triple down on that.
It's going to be interesting this week who ends up walking out the winner of that 12-man, especially since AEW is in CMLL's house this whole entire week. So
you got to hope they get their wins back from all the Forbidden Doors.
I'm like, this is Arena Mexico. CMLL is very protective of their talent. So I don't know if we're going to see it much on Grand Slam Mexico, but I can expect probably tonight. I'm expecting a lot of CMLL wins tonight. AEW probably getting a good chunk of wins on Wednesday, and then we'll see how Friday turns out because it's not just AEW on Friday. You got Rev Pro, New Japan. It's going to be crazy. So we're going to preview all that at the very end of the show. But again, faces stand tall by the end of this.
What do we have odds, because it's Grand Slam, on Adam Cole busting his knee up, jumping off the ramp again?
That ramp is pretty sturdy in Arena Mexico, so we'll see.
Is there an over-under on Adam Cole getting hurt and out for 6 months again?
There's got to be. I mean, it's Grand Slam again.
I mean, freak accidents happen. We literally had in the group chat, Liv Morgan is out for an indefinite amount of time through a freak shoulder dislocation. I'm sad for her. She's going to miss the summer, but I also feel bad for Kyrie. But tune in on Sunday to hear more on our thoughts. Because right now...
Hey, look, it's a married couple and their little child they've adopted.
Hey, we love you. We get a promo from Mr. William over here, Big Bill, Large William, and Brian Keith. And they get interrupted while the promo skills have not increased in quality. I will say I am happy to see the Workhorsemen back on my screen. I've missed them, but their promo skills are still very not great.
This was so bad. I mean, I was laughing at it for the wrong reasons, I guess. It's like, this is terrible. It's a Large William curse. I don't know.
If I remember back for the Professor, in general, if Large William's on your TV screen, you're laughing at him whether he's meant to be funny or not.
Yeah.
He's innately hilarious.
It's already like, oh, this is an Ed Wood movie. Great.
I have enjoyed over the last 2 weeks watching as he's trying to read the prompter or whatever he's got in front of him, and his one eye moves and the other doesn't move as fast. It's not easy, but it's just trying to do with it. It's so. And Brian Keith's like, I'm gonna be hard here, but I can't because it's too much.
But Brian Keith's trying not to laugh at him.
Exactly. Brian Keith's was like, listen, that 5th grade education is like, I'm trying not to laugh at it. But again,
been hitting the head a lot. Anyway,
like, damn. Anyway, so this sets up a match between these two. We're probably going to get it at, yes, despite this whole entire week being majority in Mexico, we are still getting a collision on Saturday, which is wild. So I'm pretty sure this is going to end up on the collision, or surprisingly, we might get this because Grand Slam Mexico is 2.5 hours. So who knows?
Shocking.
Crazy. But I'm happy to see the workhorsemen. Not happy to see their promo skills not where they still need to be. But it is what it is.
I don't know them like I should, I feel like.
They're from ROH. They were huge in ROH for a while, and they were like the big tag team champions there. And we used to make fun of the fact that, like, only one of them actually could speak. The other one had no charisma whatsoever, and he started to get a little bit more. But
I feel like
then injuries happened.
All right, JD Drake is the bigger guy with the beard, and he's one that can talk.
He's great.
And, it's fun to see them on there. It's going to be a well worked match. I'm interested to see, because we haven't seen Big Bill and Brian Keith in the ring in about a month, how they're going to do now, if there's any ring rust or anything else, because they were having some decent matches.
Right. So it should be interesting to see how Big Bill and Brian Keith do up against the Workhorsemen. So I'm looking forward to that match, whether it's this week or whenever we get it. So yes.
Okay.
Interesting match.
Okay.
I just need the table to get bigger and bigger for Mercedes every time she's out there on commentary.
I heard this was happening. And having no context, what is this theater?
Yeah.
She got real food up there, too.
Right. Guys, I would like to announce I am now a disciple of the Julia Hart School of Darkness. I mean, we're kind of matching.
Oh, there you go.
That's your 4th option. I am a disciple of the House of Darkness. That is Julia Hart.
You could be Lothario.
Julia Hart and Sky Blue holding hands. Was that a nod to anything? Does that anything to know? Or was it just cute?
That's since they started being a tag team about a year ago.
Right, okay. Which we love. I mean, Sky Blue is with Kyle Fletcher, which is fantastic, by the way. And then Julia Hart.
Blade villain. Vampire from a Tarantino film and a Blade villain are now in a relationship.
Yes, we love to see it.
Who thought they'd find each other? Blade 6.
Yeah, so we get this match, Timeless Toni Storm versus Julia Hart. We're continuing this feud that Tony is having with both Julia and Sky Blue. And then Mina is thrown into the mix in this as well. So this is a feud carrying us over until All in Texas.
We think Mercedes is taking the title?
I don't know. I really hope not, but who knows?
Doesn't she still have like 8?
She has 5 now. She lost one of them at New Japan Resurgence to Azumi. So Stardom Girl is now the New Japan Strong. But then she got another one. And later on, in about 5 minutes, we're going to talk about it. Will she add another one to her collection? Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit. As far as this match goes, I was a little disappointed that was kind of on the shorter end, not gonna lie. But you know what? I love Tony. I love Julia. This was great. Mercedes she was a little bit better on commentary, but still needs to improve in a couple areas.
What commentary? She sat there with the food.
I am trying to stay positive. Okay.
No, you want positive? Julia Hart has improved ridiculously.
Yes.
This was a well-worked match, and the angle with Sky Blue, taking her out in the front part as well, and then really working it as a heel team, all great. Tony's selling was amazing. And Professor, I don't know if you saw this last week, I ranted on AEW for having 1.25 women's matches over 4 hours of TV.
I did hear about this.
Rough.
It's not much better this week, but we got almost 3 women's matches in the span of this needed more time, but I don't know, Professor. This has been evolving more and more. You watched this. Did you at least see a good match out of this to get us where we're going?
It's a great match out of this. And I'm glad you said what you said about Julia Hart, because I was going to say she got way more air than she needed, like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Jumped up and over Toni Storm on some of I didn't even know what that moonsault, some other thing. The few things she did, I was like, oh, too much, which we haven't seen out of her, or at least I haven't seen recently. I know I'm catching back up.
That's right.
It does feel like, not to go full timeline because I know we're not on timeline, Mercedes showed up, and we thought, all right, maybe they'll start booking the women better. And it took about 6 months for them to figure out how to book them at all with Mercedes there. And now over the last year, Toni Storm's been doing, and that's been fantastic and everything else, and her and Mariah. But now we're sort of in the wake of that period, and we're trying to really figure out where we go and how we're going to get there. Which is when we get to our picks, and I'm glad to see that we have a mid-card women's. That's something we used to talk about. Like, there's no mid-card for the women. It's just sort of this haphazard 2 people on top, everyone else we never see. It is taking some shape. I still think they need more run, obviously. Like, you still got to get them in there.
How can you have a mid-card division when your mid-card champion is going for the main title?
Say it again, going for what?
What's been bothering me is that Mercedes, who is the mid-card champion, is going for the main title.
Oh, sure.
You don't have a mid-card title sitting there being able to be won. Like, that's what's bothering me about this entire setup is like, yeah, sure, put Mercedes in there for name value, but drop the TBS title. Else with it, give it a run.
Because now that you've created it, you risk flattening it all again, right?
Yeah.
Which sucks because you had women like Chris, Julia, Willow be holding this TBS championship. And, even though she's in another promotion, Jade, too, was the start of the creation of the championship. But now Mercedes is kind of just holding it hostage, which is unfortunate.
Let's put it on Marina and have her put it in the briefcase with John Moxley's championship. That'd be
Listen, Marina as TBS champion would be wild, and I'd be here for it.
What's interesting not to invoke another promotion, it seems like AEW always finds something interesting for the mid card, whereas the other promotion tends to just go, "You're the mid card, you're done," and like you're kind of there. Does that make sense? Those storylines are
mid card purgatory, as we call it.
Yeah, whereas at least mid card, they tend to take risks. Sadly, with Mercedes having this mid card, it's kind of like, and you're going to hold it and you're never going to let it go. Okay, thanks, bye. There's something though.
Right. So Tony does end up winning. Mercedes attacks afterwards. There's a whole brawl. Mina comes out. Fighting happens. Like, it's the same thing same thing that we got last week at Fyter Fest, essentially.
She eating steak with a spoon?
Yes, she was.
Yes, it's wild.
She's a heel. She's definitely a heel.
It's wild.
I'll say for the theatricality of it, though, I loved how it looked with Mercedes beating her up with all of those long frills. It just added to the entire beatdown. It was actually a great visual.
So,
Julia, DX look.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah,
it's very true. So we got to move on because Ricochet is still out here looking for members of this faction. Again, I want this coat. Lee Johnson and Blake Christian come up, and Ricochet is like, "Nah, y'all squares. I ain't about to have you in this." And goes, "That's pretty much how this goes."
Did he put epaulets on a dress shirt?
Yes, but they're on his biceps, not on his shoulders.
Right. Professor, to give you some context, this coat he's been wearing for the last couple of weeks, it is an homage to the Marine Ford jackets in One Piece. So he's been cosplaying as anime characters for the last couple of weeks. Like at the pay-per-view, he did the Akatsuki coat, which was kind of good. It was really good. But he's been wearing this like One Piece Marine Ford jacket for the last couple of weeks.
I don't hate that. Not knowing that.
It's a great look for him.
Give me anime villainness. I'm here for it.
Sure.
But yeah, Ricochet is like, Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, nah, we good. Like, you can't join this faction. They shouldn't, but neither here nor there. We move on. We got an impromptu trios match, which was buck freaking wild to watch. And I'm so upset that this is how we're using people, but it is what it is. We did a trios match. This is the reformation for one night only of the conglomeration, which is Mark Briscoe, Tomohii, and our lovely Willow Nightingale. And they are taking on the team of MXM Collection and Taya Valkyrie. We also get Chris Statlander watching this match backstage. She is like, for weeks, she's been trying to get Willow to forgive her, but Willow's not giving her the time of day. And so Chris is watching all this with judgmental eyes. I mean, this is an MXM Collection match. You know what we're going to get. It is still fantastic all the way through. It's really nice to see Taya wrestle again, because even in Ring of Honor, she hasn't been doing much. So I'm happy to see her in here. Taya needs to be in the ring more.
Fun follow on Instagram. I've seen her more there than AEW and other places. Yeah. This is where YouTube TV cut off for me. So I'm seeing these clips. So I've reloaded it and rebuilt it up. But that dude's huge. How tall is he? My God.
He's like 6'3", 6'4" at this point.
No, he's like 6'8", dude.
It's gotta be.
That's true. He's really tall.
An ogre. That's awesome. I don't know them like I should. This match actually looks a lot of fun. I love Murder Grandpa. I'm happy to see Murder Grandpa.
It's well worked, so well to their gimmicks. Ishii just kind of standing there taking punishment. Willow going nuts on both Taya, but also I think didn't she hit Masae with something too? That she almost went to a doctor.
Willow is fighting dudes and chicks alike, which we love. She's fighting everybody. She's an equal opportunist, equal rights, equal fights, is what I say.
It was well put together. I need MXM on my TV more. They're just a good watch.
Yes.
I know their promos because those go viral rather quickly, so they're hysterical.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the imminent return of Mr. Dalton Castle coming very soon, I would like to see Dalton and MXM like do something together because they'd be great.
Dalton's got to go back after Johnny TV too because he, destroyed his boys.
That's very true.
And Johnny being dirty on the apron. Okay.
Shocker.
Crazy. Couldn't believe they did that. How dare they? As I roll my eyes. I'm just kidding.
Do you think Chris and Yuta are going to have more to do with each other now? Or
well, let's talk about that because after the match, so Willow, Mark Briscoe, and Ishii win. Mark Briscoe is a whole vibe dancing to Willow's song, by the way. I'm like, Mark Briscoe is just here to have fun, and I'm here for that. But more important than the thing is that after this match, we cut backstage because Chris is walking out of the arena and she stopped giving her thoughts. Chris is frustrated because she's been trying to, talk to Willow, try to mend the relationship. Obviously, Willow wants nothing to do with her still. So Chris is done. But then Wheeler Yuta comes up from behind and basically extends a hand olive branch of friendship because these two have a prior friendship together. And Wheeler tells Chris, hey, if you need anything, you can talk to me. I'm here for you, yada, yada, yada. And then as Chris walks past him, we get a bit of a stare down between Chris and Marina. And I'm just screaming, do not let this happen, AEW. Do not pull this from me. Give me Marina and Chris right now. Give me this match right now.
So much love for this. So much love.
So yeah, very interesting that Wheeler is out here trying to extend friendship to Chris.
Is it weird or is it just because they're pulling real life into it and they're trying to create dissension, which is going to break up the Death Riders anyway?
I mean, that part.
Wheeler's talking to her like he's got no game. Like he's never talked to a woman.
Well, he hasn't, so it's okay.
I mean, if you've seen, there's clips on BTE being the elite where Wheeler was always getting choked out by Chris. It's been kind of fun to watch, but give me Marina and Chris all day, every day.
Okay. So this looks tough. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like this look for Chris too. She's like, she will beat me up, but I'm here for it. I can't wait.
Wheeler's got no game. All right.
The fact that this was a standby match makes it even more impressive to me, where we literally get Bandito and Beast Mortos, attorney at law.
Oh my God, Your Honor, I am just a simple undead beast.
I may not know your new ways or your actions.
This match was fire. This match was fire, and the fact that it was just a match to have to get people to where they need to, because something was happening backstage.
Yeah,
I don't know how Beast Mortos does anything he does, being that size and the agility he has. I mean, up there with Keith Lee and a few others, the more that I see him. That corkscrew thing he does over the top rope and lands on his feet. Like, how do you go?
Well, let's add this way. We love our agile big men, but most of them don't wear masks that cover their entire face, only get down over their eyes.
How is he breathing?
Yeah, breathing and seeing.
So Bandito and Beast Mortos, you did the thing. Bandito wins, and I'm just like, this was not a planned match. This was just a standby match, as they called it. This was great. I love this. This was great. See, AEW can do really good when they have to do impromptu stuff. So good job on the boys.
Book more women's matches.
Yes, that part too.
Matches. And I do think you get two professionals. It's like, hey, go out there. You got 10 minutes. Kill it. I think.
Do it.
Sure. Anything? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Go.
Let's go have fun.
I think that's fun.
And that's exactly what they did. This felt like they were just sparring in front of a whole bunch of people. I loved it. So we get a recap because Mercedes put a tweet out saying that she wants more gold to her belt, and she challenges our CMLL Women's Champion Zeuxis for the title. And so she accepts the challenge and then punches Mercedes in the face, which sets up for Grand Slam Mexico tomorrow evening for the CMLL World Women's Championship. She's defending her title against Mercedes Moné. Please don't let Mercedes be CMLL Women's Champ. That would not be great. I don't want that.
Is she going to get this title and the Toni Storm title? What are they going to do?
She's going to have all the belts and try to go full Ultimo Dragon.
No, I like Zeuxis, and Will and Adolfo and I will not be too keen on it as the CMLL folks, but it is what it is. Okay, this was actually really great too, because there's more plot development. So Renee is with Hangman, who's coming to check on Will, and the Young Bucks are like, hey man, good job, like this is still part of the plan. And Hangman's like, what plan are we talking about? There is no plan. Like, I was done with you guys a long time ago, and it's still that way. I need you two to stay out of my business, stay out of Will's business. And then the crowd cheered up and perked up when especially stay out of Swerve's business. And then, of course, Young Bucks were like, I see how it is. You have chosen your side. And so Hangman goes the other way. The camera pans in, the door opens, and we see that Nana was listening from behind the door with the door open a little bit. Will's dying on the table. And off camera, Nana turns and is like, "Hey, boss, did you hear all that?" Swerve comes in. It's like, "Yeah, I heard every single word." And I'm just thinking, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think this is the beginning stages." And Swerve's like, "Yo, Heyman might be legit."
Well, as he's come out and said, like, he only wanted him to say one thing and one answer, and he can't believe anything else. This is the only way to do it.
Yeah, Mark Jackson looking like Paula Abdul. That's so far the only thing I can tell from
That man is pulling out every last bit of his hair follicles from the front of his head, trying to make himself bald quicker.
It doesn't grow back, young fella. Please
does.
stop.
It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait to see what kind of shenanigans the EVPs bring in 2 weeks.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
That's a choice he made.
Hey, you know what? They're comfortable in themselves, so sure.
I'm not judging. I'm just like, I've noticed this.
Right. I love this match. I don't care what nobody says.
Oh,
Assume we don't like this match.
Who said they didn't like it?
You're putting it out there, Mike. You're saying I like this match no matter what you say. I'm like,
I don't care what nobody says. So that's the general consensus.
okay,
I'm not specifically applying it to you two.
Okay.
But I do have some unfortunate news, though. So I'm thinking to myself, it's been a couple of weeks since we've seen Jamie, right? So I'm like, I wonder when we're going to start doing that. Turns out Jamie is sidelined for however long because now she's injured again.
Well, and she got injured during the match during the Owen.
Yeah. So I'm like, but it's okay. I mean, hopefully it's not out for too long. I'm like, Jamie, we just got you back. No.
Weird.
But
Mercedes Moné worked a hard-hitting match and injured somebody.
we ain't going to do that today. Anywho, even if it's true. But we do get this match, which ends up being our semi, which is fantastic. We get the Toxic Spider from Stardom, who is now signed with AEW, taking on Team Juicy herself, the one, Queen Aminata. Jesse would roll his eyes at me, but he's not here, so I can say it. But Team Juicy, that is her moniker. I did not give that to her, Professor, but Queen Aminata versus the Toxic Spider, Thekla. Man, this match ruled. I love this. Queen is very perfect to let Thekla just work stiff, and it's great to watch.
I'm excited to watch this. I got to catch up.
Please do. This was great.
I learned so much more about Thekla from this than I have the other ways of doing it. They mapped this match out to really play to her strengths, to really play to what she needed to do. Aminata didn't just take a lot of punishment. It showed resiliency on both ends. It was a well-choreographed match and definitely a way to showcase your new talent. Like, well done on this. Book more.
So I'm really happy with this match because it's basically, it gave you, at least because I've seen it, this gives you the greatest hits and what you need to know about Thekla, especially because this is how she wrestled in Stardom for the last year and a half that me and Adolfo have been watching and now covering too. So she's great. But Queen is also fantastic. Queen's like arm strikes are vicious to watch. And I'm just like, yes,
Eat it up.
I will watch these two fight forever. And I'm interested to see who we officially give Thekla as her like first official feud. But I'm here for it, and I'm here for more Queen on my screen, please. We keep developing this, and I'm just like, Nick Wayne, we need to... This is a, make it or get off the pot moment. Like, either you gonna leave and turn or what? Like, we've been dragging this out. And Kip Sabian, I love you, but you cannot be the voice of dissension in this. I'm sorry.
Why is Wayne got the Ring of Honor title?
Okay, so...
let's back
it up.
Too long.
Because you've been gone for a little bit. So...
I mean, if it's going to take him too much time, we don't have to, but
something's gone wrong.
It's the TV title, so it's not that bad.
That's very true. So what ended up happening is that previous champion, Commander had the belt, and he challenged Nick Wayne Nick Wayne challenged him for a championship bout. Nick Wayne won said championship belt, and he's been the Ring of Honor television champion for the last 2.5 months now, I think is a fair assessment.
But almost every week, both on AEW and ROH TV.
And despite what Christian Cage says, Nick had a very stellar performance because he was also gone for 3.5 weeks to Japan, where he competed in New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors tournament, where he had a killer showing. And I think at Forbidden Door, if El Desperado is still champion, I think Best of the Super Juniors set up a Forbidden Door match between Nick Wayne and El Desperado for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, because he pinned Desperado in that tournament. He had a great showing. He had some fantastic matches. Like,
very much. So. He's really shown his in-ring has grown immensely. He's just hamstrung by this entire thing around Christian Cage. They're just not able to move forward. And he's getting like good matches that he got to fight Rhino. He got to fight a bunch of other like wonderful big showcases, but I'm done with this. I need this to move somewhere.
We need to get into the closing crescendo of the story with the inevitable Nick and Christian and Patriarchy kind of going their separate ways.
Get Kip Sabian back with Penelope Ford so that Megan Bain can squash him.
Yes, I mean, he might like that. But anywho, I love Kip. I want more for him. But yeah, I'm hoping we are reaching the closing of this. I just had to include this picture because it was fun.
That's the segment that just aired as I have this going at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in our main event, we are getting Daniel Garcia and Paragon taking on the Don Callis family. Essentially, this is a rerun of Fyter Fest last week, but the difference is that the Don Callis family ends up So it's the Don Callis family plus, well, I mean, he's technically part of the family, but not really. It's Don Callis family plus CMLL's Hechicero, the Alchemist of CMLL. But unlike Fyter Fest, Don Callis family picks up the victory with Josh Alexander getting the win for the family in this one.
I like Josh Alexander.
Me too. And
I still say Paragon is another one of the terrible names, faction names out there.
between that and the Ops, which is worse.
Paragon's probably worse than Ops. These Ops, I could be like, okay, you're trying to be cool, fine. Paragon, really?
So
They're
again,
bad. That's just dumb.
it's really tough. Yeah, those shirts are not great. I
No.
mean, again, this is basically the same match that we got last week at Fyter Fest in the main event, just with different players and different shades, and the outcome being different. So it was fine. And again, this sets up all the stuff. So unless anybody else has anything else to say about this, we can go into previewing this whole entire week of a
I know nothing. I got to rewatch the last 45 minutes of this anyway. So
Much else to go into with this because it's just they're rerunning the tires multiple times. So like it was a good match, but like yeah, they did the same stuff except
They did it at Fyter Fest last week.
was
pretty
this
much.
the same match as Fire? Basically,
With different players, pretty much, yeah.
really?
but same
Yeah.
beats, same kind of like hope spots, everything else, just different winner.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, because Paragon and Danny won last week, so Don Callis family won this week, so we'll probably get a tiebreaker at some point, but I digress. So that brings us to the end of the All Elite Ensemble review. I'd say it was stronger than Fyter Fest. In
Yeah.
some areas, I really enjoyed Summer Blockbuster more than Fyter Fest in some areas, but what I'm really excited about is this week.
Yeah.
I mean, if you couldn't already tell. So
I would say that Fyter Fest was the dress rehearsal for this week.
yes,
Like
there's a lot.
They redid again at Summer Blockbuster, but better.
And there is a lot. There is 3 whole events going on with the 4th that will probably air later, which has me super excited. But we'll get into that right now. So there are 3 events AEW related wise that are happening that we are going to go over. And one of them is airing tonight as we speak. So I'm going to give that login information to my group here so they can watch this Tuesday, tonight's episode later down this week, which is super exciting with all of that. But let's go over everything in order. So we're going to start with what's going on tonight, which is the CMLL versus AEW and ROH show. So this is going to be seeing CMLL talent going up against the AEW and Ring of Honor talent specifically, which is really, really fun to watch. So let's get into it. Of course, I have the big old poster. You might not be able to see it, but I will be going over all the matches. And thank you, CMLL. As you always do, you give us the order that these matches are always happening every single week. So I have the card order as well. So because Commander is out, we had to switch some things around for the Tuesday and the Friday show, but we are still getting some very fun matches. Starting everything out is going to be CMLL's Persephone taking on Ring of Honors and Women's ROH Television Champ Red Velvet in a special the Amazonas match, so Amazon one-on-one match. So the women's division in CMLL for you two is called the Amazona. And so, yeah, I'll be going back and forth between Spanish and English, so please bear with me. Then so for the CMLL Tag Team Championships, we are having our CMLL champs, Los Chavez. So these are actual brothers who are wrestling together. So there's an actual brother and brother team. And they are taking on The Crew, which is Leo Rush and Action Andretti, which is interesting. Then in a special mano a mano de lucha match. So this is CMLL's Neon versus AEW's Hologram. That match is going to go butt freaking wide. Then in another one, a mano match, Atlantis Jr. will be taking on the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. So that's going to be a fun one. Then in a lucha semifinal in Relevos Atómicos. So we're getting a Relevos Atómicos match in our semi-main event, which is representing CMLL, which surprisingly is which are the bad guys, which is Guerrero, Averno, Gran Guerrero, and taking on the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshi, the Protostar Kyle Fletcher, the Alchemist of CMLL Hechicero, and who the CMLL team has dubbed this AEW in Rocky Romero. So it's crazy because Rocky Romero out here pulling double duty. Then in the main event, it is for the ROH Championship. Bandito is defending his title against Máscara Dorada. This match is going to slap. Can't wait for that one. So that's airing tonight. So that's the AEW versus...
That's a huge card.
Right? And the fun thing is these shows will only go 2.5 hours because they don't do more than like 6 matches, 7 matches on a card, which is lovely. So that's the Tonight Show on Tuesday. So that's AEW and ROH versus CMLL. Then tomorrow evening is Grand Slam Mexico, which is a 2.5-hour show. And these are the matches that have been announced so far. First, of course, we talked a little bit earlier. We are getting MJF versus the Golden Boy of CMLL in Místico. So, very interested to see if MJF goes over Místico and CMLL in Mexico. So, we'll see what happens with all of that. For the CMLL World Women's Championship, Zuxi is defending her title against Mercedes Moné, the CEO of AEW. Please don't let Mercedes win. That is my only gripe. No, I will not be okay with that. In a 10-man tag team match, because we got our wish, because we wanted Will Ospreay in some capacity down here. In a 10-man tag team match, it is the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. So John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Matthew and Nicholas Jackson taking on the team of The Ops, which is Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata Bread over here, Katsuyori Shibata. And they are teaming up with Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. So I'm like, damn, that is a team right there. So very interested to see what ends up happening with all of this. If the Death Riders go over to Arena Mexico's, Hobbs, I love you, but you're probably taking this pin.
That's what I was just going to say. It's a Hobbs or you to take a pin here.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. Then, if you thought 10 men were crazy, we get a 12-man tag team match too.
How can the ring contain so much meat?
You'd be very
surprised. It's a meat ring.
You'd be very surprised. We've had tournament matches where it's like 10 on 10 in Arena Mexico, so we're fine. I can't wait for you guys to see the entrances because there's like a whole ascended staircase they have to go down. It's kind of crazy. But in this 12-man tag team match, we are getting the heels, which is Hechicero. We're getting Hechicero and the Don Callis family being represented by Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Josh Alexander, teaming up with FTR. So this is crazy.
Did we just notice on here they've made a new team name for Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke?
Yeah, Shida. Yeah, so FTR and Josh Alexander, and they're taking on the face team of Templario, who is also a United Empire New Japan member too. Atlantis Jr., Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, and of course my baby daddy. Brody in Mexico just makes sense to me, and I can't wait to see him fly for the Mexico crowd.
They're going to go nuts.
There's a lot of bodies in the ring. This is going to be fun.
I mean, I knew that Kyle Fletcher came out to a brown noise sound, but So, 2 matches that got added earlier this week. We are having a 4 million pesos high-flying 4-way. So if you...
What does that even mean?
So, you know AEW loves to do like their money grab thing. So if you convert 4 million pesos into American, that's 400,000 American dollars.
Really?
But yes. But we are getting Máscara, Ricochet, Hologram, and Leo Rush. This match is about to be bonkers.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Everybody gonna be flying.
Yeah, no one's gonna be on the ground.
No, which is perfect. Because you're in Arena Mexico. Nobody stays on the ground anyways.
It's too high up there.
But then, for no reason, we're getting Mark Briscoe versus Okada.
Yeah, what is this?
Mark Briscoe wants revenge for his friend Kenny. That is how they explain this match.
Mark Briscoe just wants to bleed out in the middle of Mexico.
But you know what? Briscoe in Arena Mexico is going to be so much fun. The Mexico crowd is going to love him.
The swerve here of Briscoe winning would just be incredible.
Yes, that'd be so much fun.
It won't happen, but it would be so good after doing everything else.
Right. So that's everything that we have for Grand Slam Mexico so far. Really quickly, we are also getting Global Wars for Ring of Honor. So I don't know if it's going to be if it's going to air during or it's going to be a separate thing, but we're getting 2 matches on Global Wars, which I'm mad at that AEW is probably not going to air as part of Grand Slam Mexico. We are getting Lee Moriarty versus CMLL legend and probably the oldest person actively wrestling on CMLL in Blue Panther. This man is like in his 80s and he can still go. It is crazy.
He really?
Yes.
No
Between him, Atlantis Senior, and Octagon Senior, they have like 200 plus years of wrestling experience combined.
The fuck?
With their ages. Yeah, Mexico out here, and he's still in pretty good shape, too. Blue Panther's wilding out here. So Lee is going to be fighting Blue Panther, but the match I'm excited about, and I'm mad we're probably going to have to wait, is this tag team match of Athena and Billy Starks versus Thunder and CMLL's Persephone. They should have put this on Grand Slam Mexico, but I'll take what I can get. Seriously. But then AEW ends its time in Mexico on Friday with Mania, which is CMLL, New Japan, AEW, Ring of Honor, Rev Pro in the UK, and New Japan Strong. And I have the official final card here, which had to have some changes due to the fact that, people got hurt. But here are the matches that we are getting at Fantastica Mania. So all these, companies coming together. We are getting CMLL's Kira taking on Red Velvet in an Amazonas match. We are getting Thunder Rosa making her Arena Mexico debut in a singles match against CMLL talent La Jarochita. We are getting a Relevo Atomicos match, so 4-on-4, representing the international companies is The Crew, Rocky Romero, and Rev Pro's Robbie X. So we get a little bit of UK involvement here. Taking on the CML team of Los Depredadores, so that is Magnus and Rugido. And of course, they are teaming up with El Galma, which is Zandokan Jr. and Difunto. Y'all are going to get a kick out of this. This is in the Wrestling Pirates and a Wrestling Grim Reaper. You're going to
love that.
Then, in what I'm really excited for, in a mano-a-mano match, CMLL versus New Japan, Ultimo Guerrero versus Yota Tsuji, which makes me so... That match is going to slap. Then, in New Japan faction-on-faction warfare, we are getting Los Itadaretan, Shingo Takagi, and Takahashi, taking on United Empire, so that's Will Ospreay's little faction. And it is being represented by CMLL's Templarios, EJP, and Francesco Akira. Then, one-on-one matches, we are getting a Relampago match, which is a match that has a 10-limit time limit draw between Neon and the Jet Kevin Knight, which makes me excited. So Kevin's being added to this card. Then we are getting a one-on-one match, Volador Jr. versus Ricochet. And then in our main event, it is a tag team match of Místico and Máscara Dorada taking on Bandido and Hologram.
Go survives his match with MJF, though. You never know.
That's very, very true as well. So we, the CMLL team, will be doing a live watch-along on Friday. So you two, while it is not mandatory, you both have an open invitation if you find the time at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, or you can just pop in the chat and watch the three of us lose our minds between Will, Adolfo, and I. But yeah, this is a packed week for AEW, and I'm so excited to expose you two to CMLL. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting to watch more of it. I've just gotten to see clips and random things, but it's great.
Consider me happy to be exposed.
I'm excited too. So I'm excited. And then, of course, we wrap things up on Sunday with our Dual Dynasty review, where we review Raw and SmackDown. And then, for what we know of, we will also be making our predictions for Night of Champions, because it is next week, which is kind of crazy to say. We will not be reviewing Night of Champions, but we're still going to do predictions, because I need to make sure I'm still in the league for predictions.
I'm sure I'm getting hosed.
We'll see. Nah, TNA is kind of hosing me right now. I am in last in TNA, and I don't like it.
I'm only down by 1. I'm still in last place, though, here.
So, I mean, we don't have to worry until y'all in Texas to see, and that's going to make or break us. But we got a full week ahead of us, so thank you for tuning in from all of us here at All Elite Ensemble Review and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic. More importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you next Tuesday for the Grand Slam Mexico Worlds Collide event, where it is CMLL and AEW teams tagging together. But until then, this is Sayonara, adios. And I only know one way for us to get up on out of here. So instead of me, I'm going to let our friends of MXM Collection do their thing.
Let's get out of here. Johnny TV style. Sebastian! Right in the shot, you bald idiot! You fool! The other way!
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.